Hey there, comic friends. I'm Travis, and it's Talking Comics. We're going to talk some comics. These are comics for the week of July 2nd, 2025, in no particular order. First off, we have a book from Distillery, Warm Fusion, issue number 3. This is the final of the story. I've enjoyed this book all the way up until about the last quarter of this book, where everything just kind of wraps up. The book has been this kind of cool, I don't know, Blade Runner feeling, detective-y kind of story. Body mod, what's going on, sort of a story, and I've enjoyed it. And then it's like, okay, we got to wrap the book up, and chaos just kind of ensues, and which I get that would, with the calling that's happening, that makes a certain amount of sense. We get on to the last pages where our main character confronts the serial killer, and I'm just not 100% sure at that point what is actually going on. There's this whole... There's this guy with the mask, right? Who's been in the book all the way along in this kind of Chthonian octopus mask. This guy puts it on. I mean, it shows him there with it on. Is he the same person? Because then, like, the next page, he still has it on, and then suddenly he doesn't have it on, and there's no point did it show it coming off, it being anywhere, anything that makes any sort of sense. Still really, really like Alberto Ponticelli's artwork. That's the biggest reason I picked it up. Plus, it sounded cool. It's looked cool. Visually, it's looked cool all the way along. I just don't like... I'm just not... I mean, the very, very end, the last page is fine, but I'm just not... just not happy with the kind of... there's just... It started to not make sense at one point in there as far as who I was looking at. I'm pretty sure I get who's accountable for everything. But yeah, just the ending part didn't land right because like I said, there was that confusion over, is he the same person as this other person? When he puts the mask on, that other person disappears. I mean, is it like a split personality sort of thing? He's wearing the mask, he's this person. He's not wearing the mask, he's somebody else. I don't know. The reveal about the big monster, that was kind of cool. Kind of wondered if it was something like that, but that was fun. I enjoyed the ride. Just not the answer to the end of the book, I guess. Next up from Mad Cave Studios, we have Whatever Happened to the Crimson Justice, issue number 2. We still don't know what happened to the Crimson Justice. Retired for some reason. Some terrible stuff happened in the past. We do get a little more of that. Clearly establishes who the Crimson Justice was, and where he's at now in the world. Another retired supervillain gets wiped out. I'm interested. Just curious to see what the next issue brings, because the next issue, either somebody's come back from the dead, or our main guy is seriously hallucinating, one of the two. It's been interesting so far. It's always fun to see somebody write a superhero related comic that's not the big two, because they have kind of a whole world that they can flesh out or play with or do whatever with. They're not, constrained to, this is so-and-so's rogue gallery or that person's rogue gallery, all that kind of stuff. So this has been an enjoying issue. I don't know that I'm deep in. I don't know that I care about the entire universe now that I've said that. But I'm still curious as to why is what's happening. And I guess that's the important part in that, right? Arcana Royale, issue number 3 of 4. Really enjoy this issue. Really enjoy this AC Zamudo's artwork. Bill Crabtree doing some excellent colors. we've moved on to like the final, the final game, the final match of this kind of mystic poker of sorts, and there are completely new rules that weren't described before, and it's not just about playing cards anymore. It's gotten extremely dangerous. The kind of we found out in the last issue, some of the premise of that is these card games actually affect reality. So that's been interesting. But now you can see the character there with the knife in hand. Things have gotten way out of control. So I'll be curious to see in this last issue how our card shark survives this, or if she does. It'd be interesting to find out. Adventureman Family Tree issue 3 of 3. These are obviously now being released as tiny little little arcs and stuff. In the larger scheme of things, Tommy's still gone. The kid is still gone. I still have to rescue them. Claire has been hiding the entire time. Adventure Mom. Love the art of this. I like the story. It's taking a very, very long time to not go much of any place. This is definitely going to be read it and trade if you're thinking you want to read it. Unless you gather all the singles up together, read them all together. I think this would be more enjoyable to consume more of it at once, because it very briefly touches on little bits of things. This issue is that way. It touches on very brief moments. Those moments are great and all, but in 22 pages, however many pages this is, it's not fulfilling. There's not a lot there to feel like it's moving energy forward as to their current actual plight. It tells some Adventureman story type stuff in there, which is fun. I just don't know that it needs, if it's having so many pages and so much of the story, and so far doesn't hold a ton of weight. It's just hey, here's an adventure man story we're telling, this pulp hero type story we're telling amongst, because it's kind of the scaffolding of what's happening in the current timeline of the book. But it's the larger portion of it. And so far, I don't see, like in this issue, with our assassin guy giving back this dagger and setting up this thing with the sirens and stuff, unless this matters in another story, which it's another story, because this is issue 3 of 3. No, when the next, Adventureman book is going to come out. That stuff doesn't really have anything to largely, not solidly connected to what's going on in the rest of it. Fun to read the story, but until I see where that connects, it feels like it took up a lot of space for when dealing with our drama and dilemma that's happening in the main part of the book, if that makes sense. I'm enjoying it. I'm just not super excited now when this book comes out. It's not like at the top of my list of yes, because it's noodling around and not moving forward, and the noodling around stuff, while enjoyable, is not so far has not been so enthralling that I don't care what's happening in the main story. Batgirl issue number 9. This is the beginning of a new part of this larger story around Cassandra Cain and her mom. The swords have shown up of this cult, that's after her. They want to clean up the rest of the bloodline of Shiva, is what they're out to do. So they're out for Batgirl. Batgirl is out in the middle of Montana, outside of Fishhead, Montana. Take a train there. And she runs into the Bronze Tiger in this issue. Has some dealings with him because the Bronze Tiger is actually responsible for part of Cassandra's training when she was being trained as an assassin. So that's some interesting dilemmas there. And she gets exposed to something at the very end of this that she doesn't really want to deal with. And interestingly, she rejects it outright. Not as it that it's not a truth, but more of a, oh my God, this is a horror, which I find really interesting because I would think that that she might be excited by that, her being basically an orphan. If you find a family member, wouldn't you be excited about having a family member? And a family member that doesn't seem like, dead set on wanting to kill you or that sort of thing. I don't know. That's interesting. I'm curious to see the next issue. I've been really enjoying Batgirl. It's been some good fun to explore a little bit of Cassandra Cain. So we'll see where she goes next. And every issue they tell her, go back to Gotham. But she is adventuring around. So it's been cool. All righty. Next up, we have Resurrection Man, Quantum Karma. This is issue 4, written by Ram V. And Arcana does most of the art on this. Mike Spencer doing the colors. And then, of course, the first page in all of these. And I'm curious to see if all of the first pages got made before. So the first page has always been by Jason Butch Gucci, who was one of the original creators of the book, along with Abbott, along with Dan Abbott and Andy Lanning. He just recently passed away, like in the last month. So I don't know if he made it to the end of this, and it'll be interesting to see if they replace him or how they change that, because we get this kind of older style art and an older look at Resurrection Man's life before we then dip into our main story. That is an amazing 2-page spread shot there, I think. At any rate, still really enjoying this book. It's really interesting. Deep into the woods. We're now dealing largely with the guy that has brought Resurrection Man kind of like to this kind of time machine of sorts. Not as in I can travel through time, but it's moving with time. We find out that he is a Resurrection Man of some version from the future, supposedly. He wants to use this, and because our current character has died of old age, time is what he seems to potentially be able to control at this point with his powers. And this alternate Resurrection Man wants to use that to right some wrongs of his own. And I find that deeply interesting. I'm really curious at the end of this. We introduced another kind of somewhat obscure DC character, though maybe not as obscure right now because Tom King just wrote a miniseries about the guy, so maybe not as obscure as far as that goes, but just some really interesting stuff. For those of you who are reading this, what do you guys think of this? In the back, you get like 6 or 7 pages of black and white art of what the next story is going to be. I actually hate that. I'm gonna read the book anyway. I don't need this to sell me on what the next book is, when the next issue is going to be. I find it just kind of spoilerific, and I try to avoid it as much of it as I can. Matter of fact, just looking at it the first time, I'm kind of looking at it, just showing it to you guys. I don't know. I don't know why that's there. I mean, I get that. The Black Label, it's a deluxe format, a harder stock. Is that part of the deluxe format? I mean, I get that being in a love that in like a trade, or show me the black and white of the current issue I'm reading. And how the soup was made. I'm down for that. I love how the soup was made as far as comic books go. But this is the next issue though. This is spoilers. This is not showing me how. This is not showing me this, cool ass page in black and white, and what it looks like before it's been lettered and stuff like that. It's giving me an advanced look at what's going on, or is that my advanced time thing based on the story? I don't know. Every issue has done that, and I'm not a fan of that. Show me what you've already done if you're just showing off the artwork. I don't feel like you need to give me 6 pages or more of advanced art for the next issue. But maybe I'm wrong. Am I wrong? You're reading this? Let me know. Nullhunter, issue number, what is this? This is 9. And I believe this is 9 of 10, right? I think there's one more issue left of this book. Continue to really dig Vargas' art in this. Haven't completely checked it out yet, but I believe Vargas has a Kickstarter going that has all of his Peruvian cyberpunk stuff. You can get like the whole thing in trades and whatnot, I believe, is what that is about. But anyway, this issue, we do some hacking. I'm not sure. I couldn't figure out off the top of my head because I don't know all the Trials of Hercules all that well. I don't know. Is there a Trial Hercules where he fights a 3-headed something? I don't remember. It's not ringing a bell. But this is pretty cool. They go after a cyber entity that had gone rogue. You know, they break into it and steal some of the information they need to, and get some kind of mother-child drama that goes on towards the end of it, or that feeling, sort of a thing. So, like I said, I don't have a ton I want to say about it, but I really, really enjoyed it. I really like the art. Continue to really dig the art. It was an interesting issue. Be curious to see where we go with the next. It's starting to feel like the book is largely, let's just let the artist go ham on a few scenes, and then we'll kind of structure what we need to around that, which is cool. I'm okay with that. It just leaves me with a sense of, you know, are we getting a good enough story out of that? Because I feel like probably there might have been more here for me. I mean, look at the imagery of these cows running along. There's a herding thing. So there clearly is more of a tie to those Herculean events than what I remember without doing some research of my own to check it out. But still some fun. Birds of Prey, issue number 23. Of course, the last issue, really bad stuff happened. And in this issue, it's kind of the scramble to pick up the pieces and to get on the offensive. Quite enjoyed it. What's interesting is I was looking, Basari does the line work on this, and Simmons, I'm not going to do that, is the colorist. Something about the art looks different. And so I went back to look at the other issues, last couple issues, and it's the same creative team. I don't know. The line work looks different. The faces are a little sharper. I'm not sure what it is. I need to actually literally dig. I just looked up the information. I need to literally dig out some prior issues of Birds of Prey and look, because there's just something about it that's tickling the back of my brain, telling me that something has changed. Somebody's style has gotten different, or something has happened, and it bugged me throughout the entire thing. Not in a bad way, just in a something's out of place. I put everything in its place, in the exact same place every single day, and now today somebody's moved something 3/4 of an inch, and my brain's freaking about it or something. I don't know, but still enjoyable. Like I said, I really dig the characters that are in it. Kelly Sue writes a fun book. Kelly Thompson. Sorry, Kelly Thompson. I know you get stuck with that a lot. Kelly Thompson writes a good story, and just looking to see what the ladies do, how they pick up their pieces. How do they get Barda back? Because Barda's still being captured. It'll be interesting to see. Bitterroot, issue number 4. That's number 4 or 5. I always dig the art. The art is so cool. It's the 60s. It just really screams 60s. All of these covers Scream 60s. The inside of it has a 60s feel to it. There's just a little bit of that kind of the right kind of flair. But yeah, Green just does a really cool job. And in this issue, we find out some crazy stuff. There's some people who have some powers. We didn't necessarily know they had powers. Thank God they're on the family side. We go back in time and kind of show what deal was made between the families that are hunting these demons and the American government, and how that plays with them, and how it plays within minority communities who are basically the ones that have been fighting this stuff, and how the U.S. government wants to take it on. They want all the recipes and all the stuff, all the ideas and all the ways of fighting this stuff. And then they're going to do it, and you don't really need to. We'll give you some special titles, and we'll humor you into thinking you're part of this, but really we, the government, are going to take it over and do whatever. And there's some suspicion and a little bit of a split between some of the groups in the family over that decision, over the fact that since when has the government ever done anything good for us, really? Versus we need more help. This is a bigger thing, and it's a good thing that the government is recognizing that two things. One, that this problem exists, and two, that acknowledging that we are the answer. Secretly, we are the answer to some of that. So continues to be some good stuff. As long as they want to keep telling, they can go through all the years, as far as I'm concerned, of Bitterroot. I just thoroughly enjoy it. Really like the eye candy of the art. So good stuff. Grimm, issue number 23. I believe 24 is the last issue. I can't remember if in this it actually says to be concluded. But we're playing chess with another type of death entity. We come to some resolutions. Ask the right questions. Don't answer the wrong questions. Sort of metaphorical stuff. And we get our character living out this chosen life, potentially. Moving forward, and we'll see what happens as somebody else takes the throne of death and what that possibly entails. This has been a long to get this coming out. There were some pretty big breaks, it felt like. To be continued. It just has to be continued. So I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Continue to dig the book, dig the art, dig the vibe of the book. So we'll see. We'll see what's next. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's not the end. It just felt like with as massive as some of this stuff has been, that this would be the landing point. But maybe it's selling better and they have more story, more out there to do. I'd just be curious because it feels like this issue had some pretty heavy resolution in it. So. And lastly this week, it is Plague House, issue number 4. First and foremost, all of these David Chisholm covers have been awesome. Half a person and half of a building of the ghost hunters that we started this series out with. In this issue, it all ends. It ends without definitive answers, and I really dig that in this story of kind of, are there ghosts or aren't there ghosts? Are places haunted or not? Do places gather bad energy, and then that is displayed through poltergeists and other hauntings and that sort of thing? Or does it affect the people who live there, moving them into psychosis? Clearly, in some case, that's what happens. But it leaves it unanswered in the right kind of way. Like I said, this has been a really good Michael Conrad book and story. I've really, really enjoyed this from him. And the art, David Chisholm's art, really sings in this. I really dug his Spectrum stuff too. He has his own style and the way he colors stuff. And in this, it feels It just feels really cool. There's just feels like there's extra stuff. Look at that house. It's haunted. It just feels like he goes extra steps with the color palette that he chooses to use and when he chooses to use it. Oversaturation in a lot of cases, which is just really really good. Just really some interesting stuff that happens and some page layouts and that sort of thing. Just really tickle the eyeballs. So yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed these 4 issues. I need to find out what's next for Dave Chisholm so I can make sure I'm picking up whatever that is, because I've just really been digging his art quite a bit. And that's it. That's it for this week. What'd you read? Did you read this stuff? Am I wrong? Am I right? Whatever. I'll talk to you next time. Bye.